Ladies and gentlemen, I am Nigel Fletcher, Chief Executive Officer of the International Sports Convention, and welcome to the International Sports Federations Week 2021. We're on day 2. The International Sports Federation Week 2021 is powered by Me and My Friends. Me and My Friends, a little bit of background, is an award-winning digital product studio which helps sports federations manage their disciplines with web and mobile apps. The topic of today's webinar is what can sports federations do to ensure the uniformity of knowledge and decision making? I'm delighted to hand over to two experts from Me and My Friends, Agnieszka Krzysztofic and Kristina Kulash, who will tell us how technology can help with self-testing, implementing accreditation regulations for competition organisers, and making sure thousands of contractors and volunteers follow the same procedures and understanding during a competition or event. Without further ado, I'd like to hand over to Me and My Friends and over to Agnieszka.
Hello Nigel, and thank you for your kind introduction. My name is Agnieszka, and with Me and My Friends, I'm responsible for business development.
My name's Kristina, I'm responsible for product development. And today with Agnieszka, we are going to talk a bit about how technology can help your work, make your work easier. This is the webinar number 2.
One organizational remark. Yeah, we know you're busy, so we decided to share a chat with you, so that if you'd like to ask any questions, please use the chat that is visible on your screen, and our team member will do their best to answer.
As we've been working with various businesses and sports organizations, including international federations, we've come to realize that running a federation or international sports organization is indeed like running any kind of multinational business.
Exactly, with lots of daily tasks to perform, goals to reach, thousands of issues to control and manage. Sports federations are just like businesses, and therefore they can benefit just as much from digital transformation.
Very true. And just as businesses, federations and sports organizations should be aware that it's not the matter of future that those possibilities that digital transformation brings about. It's actually now. It's the matter of expectations and what people are already used to. So that's why we're going to talk about how technology can help you do it. And the topic of today's conversation in particular is?
Today we're going to talk about what can sports federations do to ensure the uniformity of knowledge and decision making.
To explain a bit what we mean, we come to realize from our conversations with sports organizations that the knowledge transfer and information aggregation is just as difficult for sports organizations as for every other business. It's a key thing to do as well at the same time, but it's a difficult thing to do.
Exactly. How can you make sure that everyone in your organization makes educated and good decisions if you're not certain that their level of knowledge is uniform?
That's very true. Making educated decisions is and educated. That's one thing, and uniform throughout your sport is another thing. Is only possible when people know the same things they should about particular areas, and when they keep their knowledge up to date and they understand what this knowledge entails, and they're able to put it into practice. For example.
It's not only just to add something here. It's not only for sports organization staff, but also for contractors, all business environment, and volunteers. Let's say that you have to on board for your tournaments and competitions. So
well, you're very right, because we're talking about the uniformity of knowledge. Well, whose knowledge is it that has to be uniform? It's the sports organizations, it's the let's say the business environment around, it's the contractors, whose decision making, on the other hand, is it that has to be consistent, so as not to embarrass the organizations, so as not to incite unnecessary debate, perhaps, as well. Or so as to make running different processes easier. So, for example, by following the same procedures in tournaments or in competitions. So, what are the problems in particular that come with knowledge transfer, with knowledge aggregation, that prevent organizations from having this uniformity of knowledge and decision making?
Well, first of all, there are many different sources of knowledge that are in many different places. They are not easy to find, not easy to follow, usually in the form of PDFs or other text documents or spreadsheets. So
who doesn't love a good spreadsheet?
Not exactly user-friendly, and
True.
Without the possibility to edit or highlight specific passages that are important to you at any given moment. That's one thing, and so it makes it really difficult to study.
As it's a difficult problem for any organization. Doesn't matter if it's a regular business or a sports organization, right?
Exactly, and the issues connected to that stem from many different places. One of them, and probably the most important one, is scattered knowledge, that the documents are in many different places, in many different forms that are not exactly user-friendly, like PDF documents or spreadsheets or any other kinds of documents that make it really difficult to follow the changes.
Yeah, manage the changes and manage and follow the changes as well. Very true. And when you expect the uniformity of knowledge and decision making within your organization and the groups interested in your organization and your sport globally, that's a big impact that you might have. So first of all, when there's no single let's say source of knowledge, and bits and pieces are all over the place in different forms.
Yeah, you cannot expect your staff or your business environment to be on the same page as you are. So you cannot be sure that they know what they should, and they know how to put it into practice, especially if you don't test their level of knowledge in any way, or you don't allow them to self-test.
That's one thing, and the other thing is that if you're the knowledge manager responsible for the knowledge hub, let's say for your sport or your organization, it's extremely difficult and tiring to distribute the changes and updates, because there are so many places that you have to bear in mind. Some things need to be updated in the document, some things need to be updated in a directory, some things need to be updated during a meeting, for example. Secondly, what about studying those changes and the knowledge that you've just mentioned?
Well, if you're distributing the regulations or changes in any kind of legal documents in a way that is not easy to follow and study, like the PDFs that we mentioned, that won't allow you to copy the passages or highlight the parts of the documents that are of interest to
I
you.
suppose we've all been there when
sure.
when you tried to make use of a PDF document and simply copy some information from it onto a separate file better suited for your use. And
Sometimes
you couldn't do
it's
it.
even a scanned PDF, so it's more like
That's
like
even
an
worse.
image, not even a text document. So you cannot expect anyone to really process that knowledge that you share with them.
And how can you pass it on? For example, if you receive it as a team leader and you need to pass it on to your team.
Usually you just send an email and count on everyone to get accustomed to it and to read it and process and then use it in their daily operations. But
how do you put into practice something that is described in 3 different places, in 3 different kinds and 3 different ways?
You're not even sure which version is the most recent one.
If you're sure that it's really the same thing, because it might be phrased differently, for example. This makes everything confusing to a great extent. And you mentioned also processing the knowledge. That's one of the key issues with knowledge transfer, because it's not enough to have the access to the information, being able to read it, but actually understand it and digest it, let's say.
Yeah, so that's when the situation, a specific situation actually occurs, you know how to act and what to do, because you've already processed the information that you received.
So after listing this this group of problems with the knowledge that you need to first aggregate, manage, update, distribute, then find, digest, and process and put into practice, it all ends up with very different groups of interest that have to undergo this process on a continuous basis, I suppose, because you never stop learning. The sports keep changing to be more interesting, more engaging, fun.
Not only the sport itself, but also any kind of internal regulations, but also regulations for contractors and for volunteers, or a specific regulations concerning tournaments. So it's not only the matter of your organization, but everything that happens around it.
The entire, let's say, business environment around a organization, because if we wanted to imagine it as a circle, then you'd probably have the international federation as a source of everything
in the
on the
middle
one hand
of it all.
Yeah, but then you also have the staff of the federation who need to be well informed as well, and then the knowledge is passed on.
Exactly. And each of these groups need to acquire that level of knowledge, so that you can be certain that all the processes will run smoothly.
But not everybody needs the same level of knowledge, right?
That's true. That's for sure. That for example, your external contractors won't need to know the same things as your own staff.
That's very true. And another thing probably is that at some point after going from the international organization to, let's say, continental organization or national organization, the information will be built on because of national regulations or league regulations.
Yes, the information that comes from the top, from the international organization, might need to be altered to fit the reality of a national federation of that sport, for example. So the changes are happening in real time, and it makes it even more difficult to make sure that everyone follows them.
So it seems it's very difficult to gain the uniformity of knowledge and resulting from it decision making within sports organizations and federations. Obviously, it begs the question of how to do it easier, better, more stressful, less. Sorry, of course, less stressful, and in a more organized way.
Well, we have the answer, as
Of course.
we've already done it in a cooperation with the IFAB, which is the Lawmaker of Football, International Football Association Board. That needed a tool to be able to aggregate and share knowledge within the organization and also outside of it. So we created a knowledge hub that also contains an e-learning tool. So you both have all the knowledge within the organization in one place, but also you're able to provide the tool for everyone interested to study.
So the tool was originated from the IFAB's idea, and then it was passed on to the largest football federation in the world. And it offers various possibilities of knowledge management and aggregation and transfer and testing, self-testing, cross-referencing of the knowledge to manage any area of expertise. What groups of people of interest could it be used for as well?
Well, starting from the staff of international organizations that need to follow the changes in internal regulations and be up to date in with what's happening inside their organizations. Start
as such, right?
Codes of conduct, but also rules of sports. So also match officials that need to be up to date with the most recent changes in the rules and also to study them, to be able to put them into practice while they on the field.
Right, and it's obviously can be used for onboarding new hires as well, for onboarding and coordinating volunteers, because such a tool as a knowledge hub with e-learning and self-testing functions can be used very well to onboard large groups of people at the same time.
Yeah, and imagine, for example, Qatar World Cup that would require several thousands of volunteers to be there to help with the organization of the event. They all need to be onboarded. They all need to acquire a certain level of knowledge so that the organizer can be sure that everything goes smoothly during an event.
It sounds like a nightmare, onboarding thousands of volunteers in a short span of time.
And also making sure that they actually acquire the knowledge that they need to have. So
true. And then contractors as well. Can you imagine no, I wouldn't like to do that.
Definitely.
What about following updates and changes?
Well, the platform allows you to, the platform has a function of notifying about new additions, like changes in the documents that you're following there. So you get immediately notified if something like that happens, so that you're able to get to know, to find out what the changes are. And also, what's worth mentioning is that the content in the platform can be edited and uploaded by instructors.
Yeah, that's what's worth mentioning, I think, because as a federation, you'd be managing the entire Knowledge Hub, the content that's uploaded. However, the users of the platform could come in at least two basic groups. Those would be the instructors and the learners.
So what's the difference between them?
The instructors would be able to have an entire section panel for them, where they could set up particular learning paths for people who need specific information and knowledge about certain topics, where they could assign tests to them, upload tests for them, or create them.
Okay, so you mean that they define the content for their students to...
Yeah. To study, to cover. Those are the things that you need to cover as a volunteer. Let's say for Qatar World Cup 2022, this is what we expect you to know.
And here is a test for you to check if you know what you should.
Yeah. So first, go through the materials. Then, please solve the tests that are assigned to you. You can generate some tests for yourself as well, or you can cross-reference the knowledge with others. And the learner, on the other hand, can browse almost everything according to their permissions, of course.
And also export the topics that are the most interesting to them. So you can highlight the most important documents, or just simply download them to have them on your own computer, if that's more that's more convenient for you.
And I suppose that nowadays everybody's got used to such tools as well in their private lives. Online education is something that we've come to expect almost anywhere. So
and the COVID made it even made the progress of e-learning even faster.
Yes, for sure. So why should sports organizations fall behind in this respect? I suppose that they shouldn't. So what were the what outcomes of implementing such a knowledge hub could be expected?
Well, first of all, what we mentioned several times already, so the uniformity of knowledge, which is something that ensures that the decisions that are made are, educated decisions and based on the most recent regulations or the law that is that you should follow within the organization.
That's true. Or simply keeping up to date with any developments that have happened, because when people get updated in meetings, then the information often gets lost, and it's difficult to remember who said what, when, where. Some people remember that, there was something like that discussed, but nobody is able to recollect
the details,
or who exactly said what.
or what to do with this information.
Precisely, if it's binding or not.
Yeah.
And that might be very important when it comes to decision making, whether it's in the field of play during a game or in a competition of any kind.
Also, already mentioned successful onboarding.
Yes.
It's easy for you to provide the materials to all your employees or volunteers and make sure that they studied them because you can also test them on the platform.
That's very true. And you could also expect greater involvement, I suppose, from the people when they are,
or even competition. And I'm
well
better than
informed.
you.
Oh, okay. That might be something to be introduced, I suppose, because that offers a very broad range of possibilities when it comes to letting people compete. Well, this is sports. Everybody likes to compete, even chess players.
Exactly, but there is one more thing that is a direct result of introducing Knowledge Hub or e-learning platform, which is you can easily identify the areas that need improvement.
Very true.
So you can put more effort into teaching your staff, let's say, about a specific issue because their test results are less than satisfying.
Yeah, or they can, after self-testing, they can assess their own knowledge and come to conclusion that that's not satisfying for them because they want to become experts in that. And on that note, I suppose we could mention the matter of possibilities for the future when it comes to certification, perhaps, because that would be an interesting idea.
Like an international federation badge of expertise.
Why not? Why not?
You already know everything about the rules of a specific sport, for example, and as a, let's say, sports journalist, a commentator, you can get certified by a sports federation that your level of knowledge is really impressive.
That would definitely make the work of your communication teams and media teams easier, so that they don't have to explain the decisions made each time. If sports commentators are experts in particular fields, able to follow the newest developments and can self-test to confirm that. I think that would be quite prestigious to be certified like that.
Yeah, I think so. I think so. But that is not all, as possibilities are almost endless. For example, what we already mentioned, the competition between our students, even within the organization. So we could introduce, for example, user ratings that would allow you to easily compare yourself to anyone else that studies similar material.
Or to broaden the group still, you could introduce different language versions of the Knowledge Hub, so as to have control over the content on the one hand, but on the other hand, let more people from different regions, let's say, access the knowledge in an easy way and from a reliable source.
Yeah, exactly. Especially if you share your Knowledge Hub with national federations from the level of an international organization, so that they are able to access the content in their own language.
What about moving even further from sports federations, sports organizations, sports commentators, match officials, players, coaches? What about the fans?
Well, I think that the fans really enjoy finding out more about their favorite sport. So an attractive online tool to study the rules or the history of a sport would definitely be engaging for the fans, and they could also compete amongst themselves for a title of an expert in a specific field.
History or historical changes, but also the current changes, because that is usually something that sparks debate, and people have, when there's a change introduced into a sports, people obviously ask questions, what it means, why the change was made. There are some doubts and different interpretations. So perhaps such a knowledge hub could serve the function of building a fan community around the official knowledge hub run by a federation,
like a Quora, where you can ask a question and receive the answer from either experts from the organizations or other fans.
Yeah. And then have a rating of who gives the best answers.
Yeah, that's a competitive, side of it, and I think,
it's sports.
As we said, everyone enjoys a little competition. Also, knowledge aggregation in the form of a wiki page, for example, about the sports, where you can find.
Everybody loves a good wiki.
Yeah. When you can find all the knowledge about a certain sports that may be of interest to you. But let's not forget about the youngest sport enthusiasts, as it's really important from the youngest age to be engaged in physical activity, and such a platform could make it easier for example, physical education teachers to bring youth closer to the sport.
If they were provided good, valuable content that they could use in their classes, for example, to engage kids more, that would be great. So that would be not only sports promotion, but also promoting healthy lifestyle as well around a particular sport, for example.
And taking into consideration that more and more young people prefer to do esports than the regular sport, this is something to be aware of.
Very true. So perhaps this would be a good point to recap what we've discussed about ensuring the uniformity of knowledge and decision making, thanks to knowledge hubs. What would be the key takeaways?
Well, first of all, making the knowledge accessible and user friendly, and not to be forced to study the documents that don't make it easy for you, like the PDFs that we mentioned.
So accessibility, being up to date.
Yeah, following changes and keeping track of changes in real time, making sure that everyone knows what they should. They acquire the knowledge that they needed, because you test that level of knowledge or allow them to self-test themselves.
And let's not forget about the knowledge management, which is difficult for every organization. Thanks to having a knowledge hub, you can manage the information, the knowledge that you aggregate in an easy way, and make sure that people actually process it and put into practice. So please get in touch with us when you're ready to talk about how we can help your organization manage your knowledge better.
Yes, you can see our email addresses on your screens right now. We will also paste them to the chat so that it's easier for you to copy. And we'll be waiting to hear from you.
Thank you for joining us for the webinar number 2 of the International Sports Federations Week 2021. If you'd like to rewatch this and the previous webinar afterwards, please go to the ISC website.
And don't forget to register to the remaining webinars that are going to take place the day after tomorrow and 2 days in 3 days. Yeah,
on Friday.
On Friday, we're going to be talking about innovation launching and events.
And on an ending note, please save the date of November the 25th, as we'll be visiting Lausanne in person, and we'd love to hear from you and perhaps see you at the Olympic Museum. So thank you for today, and bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.